Hey everyone, Nigel and Luke here, and welcome to Crime Zone. Weddings are supposed to be one of the happiest occasions of a person's life. A time to celebrate love, and specifically the two people that are making a lifelong commitment to one another. Though they don't always go as planned, usually the worst thing the bride and groom are in for on their big day is a last-minute hiccup with a vendor or caterer, or a painful speech at the reception from a heavily intoxicated relative. However, in rare circumstances, a true wedding tragedy can take place, with "Till Death Do Us Part" coming a lot earlier than anyone could have possibly imagined. Today, we wanted to take a look at two cases like this, focusing on stories of tragic wedding days that ended in murder. Before we get to the videos, don't forget to like and subscribe to Crime Zone for more true crime content like this. It really helps us to continue building the channel. And if you've watched a few of our videos already, you might not even realize that you're not subscribed. While you're there, don't forget to hit the notification bell to stay up to date with our latest releases. With that out of the way, here is part 1 of two tragic cases of wedding day murder. The afternoon of September 26, 1999, started off exactly like it was supposed to for 39-year-old bride-to-be Gladys Ricart. Close friends, family members, and members of her wedding party had gathered at her home that day in Ridgefield, New Jersey, to take photos and make the final preparations for the ceremony. After that, a procession of regal white cars were meant to drive them to the church on the hill in Queens, New York. To everyone present that day, Gladys's happiness seemed obvious. Her stylist would later say that she had trouble even finishing her makeup because of the many tears of joy she shed with her friends and family. Though this kind of powerful emotional response is hardly out of the ordinary for someone about to get married, for Gladys, it had been a tumultuous road to get to her wedding day. Gladys had immigrated to the United States from the Dominican Republic in 1983, after becoming a single mother just a few years prior. For most of her adult life, Gladys's time had been dedicated to providing a better life for her and her son. She attended college and upon graduation landed a job with a travel agency and was eventually able to move them from Washington Heights to their modest 2-bedroom home in Ridgefield. At some point during this time, Gladys also met and started dating a man named Agustin Garcia. Garcia was a successful businessman and a well-known and respected figure in the Dominican American community in New York City. In addition to running businesses that provided services to other immigrants from his home country, Garcia founded the Dominican American Chamber of Commerce and the Dominican Association, an organization that provided career training to Dominicans in New York. Despite Garcia's stellar reputation in the community, he turned out to be a less than ideal romantic partner. Though he and Gladys stayed together for 7 years, she was reportedly miserable for much of that time. More than anything, she wanted to be married, and found Garcia's unwillingness to commit to their relationship frustrating. Issues between them became even worse as she slowly discovered that Garcia was constantly cheating on her, and had a reputation as a womanizer. By early 1999, she had had enough, and ended the relationship. Though initially too distraught to even leave the house due to the breakup, things soon took a miraculous turn for Gladys when she met a man named James Preston Jr. After a chance encounter on the street, James had struck up a conversation with Gladys, and the two immediately felt an attraction to one another. Soon they were dating, and Gladys appeared happier than ever. She told friends that it felt like James had been sent from God. Unlike her former boyfriend, James wasted no time in taking their relationship to the next level. Just a short time after they began dating, he proposed, and they set their wedding date for just 2 months later in September. Little did they know that the day would end in tragedy. That afternoon, a terrifying series of events unfolded as Gladys was taking pictures with her bridesmaids in the living room of her home. Unbeknownst to those inside, at the same time that this was happening, her ex-boyfriend, Agustin Garcia, pulled up in his vehicle and began walking towards the front door. Well-dressed and carrying a briefcase, Garcia appeared to fit right in, and did not stand out to anyone who did not realize that he was not supposed to be there. Though he was briefly stopped at the door by Gladys's brother, Garcia insisted he only wanted to congratulate her and quickly pushed his way inside. Once there, he immediately removed a revolver from inside his briefcase and began to fire into the living room. The house was instantly thrown into panic as everyone desperately fled the gunfire. Gladys's brother tackled Garcia and began to wrestle with him as he fired 2 more shots and then reached for additional bullets in his pocket to try and reload. When police arrived minutes later, the 2 men were still wrestling on the ground, and Garcia was taken into custody. Sadly, Gladys had been struck 3 times during the shooting, once in the back, once in the arm, and once in the head. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Chillingly, the entire brutal murder was captured by Gladys's wedding videographer. Understandably, the killing instantly garnered significant media attention. Many were eager to know how a day that had started with happiness and celebration could turn into such a shocking nightmare. Because of the footage of the killing and the numerous witnesses present at the time, it initially seemed like the murder case against Agustin Garcia was open and shut. However, the trial ended up being more contentious than anyone could have initially imagined. This was because Garcia told a completely different story about what had happened on the day of the killing. According to him, he and Gladys had never actually broken off their relationship and had continued to see each other in the months leading up to her death. Garcia claimed that he had no idea that Gladys was seeing another man, and that he never knew anything about her wedding. In his version of the story, he had shown up to her house that day completely shocked to find that she was getting married, and it was that shock that had led to his violent reaction. He also said that Gladys's brother had ambushed him once he entered the home, and that he pulled the gun out partially in self-defense. When the trial began in October of 2001, Garcia's defense team expanded on his explanation for the killing, accusing Gladys of leading a double life. They said that she continued to see Garcia well after beginning her relationship with James Preston, and that she had kept her engagement a secret. They argued that while there was no question that Garcia had pulled the trigger that fateful September afternoon, the response had been provoked by passion. This passion provocation defense was designed to get the jury to convict Garcia of manslaughter instead of murder. To back their claims concerning Gladys and Garcia's relationship, the defense showed video of the 2 of them in a grocery store together less than 24 hours before the wedding was supposed to take place. Garcia claimed that this was only one of several times that they had been together in the weeks leading up to the killing, and that their relationship had remained intimate throughout this time. Witnesses close to Garcia also said that they were not aware that he and Gladys were no longer dating, and said that it appeared that they had remained on good terms. For their part, prosecutors and witnesses close to Gladys claimed that the defense completely mischaracterized the nature of their relationship. They said that because of the common social circles that Gladys and Garcia were in, it was nearly impossible for them to avoid each other, and that this was not proof that they were intimate. They also provided a series of disturbing accounts that suggested that Garcia had been stalking Gladys in the weeks leading up to her death. This included an incident from August of 1999, in which Gladys called 911 after Garcia showed up at her house and banged on the door, demanding to be let in. When this failed, he had thrown a rock through her front window. When police arrived, Garcia was asked to leave, but Gladys declined to press charges. A similarly concerning incident occurred approximately 1 week before Gladys and James were set to be married, when a collection of white roses were left on Gladys's lawn. Though sometimes associated with weddings, white roses are also often brought to funerals, and Gladys and her family interpreted the act as a chilling threat. Though they had no proof that Garcia left the roses, he had done this several times previously in their relationship when they were fighting. The incident had been reported to police, but without proof, nothing had been done at the time. On top of all of this, witnesses observed Garcia sitting outside of Gladys's home in his car for long periods of time and driving around her neighborhood on numerous occasions leading up to the killing. These recorded incidents and statements from witnesses seemed to suggest that not only had Garcia been stalking Gladys in the weeks before he killed her, but that his story of being completely surprised by her marriage was false. At trial, Gladys's sister spoke to this claim even more directly, saying that Garcia had been around when friends and family had discussed the upcoming wedding, and that he had specifically voiced concerns about Gladys's fiancé. On October 22, 2001, after a little more than a day of deliberations, a jury found Agustin Garcia guilty of murder. He was also found guilty of a related weapons charge and 2 counts of child endangerment, because children were present in the living room when he had fired at Gladys. In an interview following the trial, one member of the jury told the local newspaper that they did not believe that Garcia was provoked by passion, and that when he walked into the house and drew his gun, his intentions were clear. The juror also told reporters that they believed that Garcia knew about the upcoming marriage beforehand, saying that when he and Gladys had been captured on video at the grocery store the night before, it might have been because Garcia followed her there in a desperate bid to try and convince her not to go through with her marriage. In February of 2002, Garcia was handed a life sentence at a hearing in Bergen County, a sentence that exceeded the mandatory minimum of 30 years for his crime. Since then, he has attempted to appeal the sentence 3 times, but all of those appeals have failed. Do you know of any other cases like this that you think we should check out? Tell us about them in the comments section below. As always, if you enjoyed our video, don't forget to like and subscribe to Crime Zone for more true crime content like this, making sure to hit the notification bell to stay up to date with our latest releases. Thank you for watching.